You look too young to be her mom after 8 miscarriages. A stranger tried to take my daughter from my arms at the mall. I was 34 when I finally held my daughter after 8 miscarriages and years of fertility treatments. Yesterday, a woman at the mall tried to physically remove her from my arms, screaming that I had kidnapped this poor Asian child. Most people celebrate their first Mother's Day with flowers and breakfast in bed. I celebrated mine in a hospital room, watching my miracle baby breathe through tubes after an emergency section at 32 weeks. After losing 8 pregnancies over 6 years, my husband and I had adopted our beautiful daughter from South Korea just 3 months earlier. The adoption process had been grueling, mountains of paperwork, home studies, and a constant fear that something would fall through. When we finally met Tay just at the airport, I collapsed in tears. Her tiny hand wrapped around my finger felt like the universe finally answering years of prayers. Recovery was slow. I developed severe anxiety, fearing something would take her away just like my previous pregnancies had vanished. I barely left the house for weeks. Yesterday was my first solo trip to the mall with Tezish, a huge milestone for both of us. We were at the food court when Tezish started fussing. As I rocked her gently, a middle-aged woman approached, smiling at first. "What a beautiful baby," she said, leaning in too close. I thanked her, shifting back slightly. Her smile faded as she looked between us. "You look way too young to be her mother," she said, her voice hardening. "And she's clearly Asian. Here's her real mom." Before I could respond, she reached for Tezish. "I think you've taken this child," she announced loudly. Her hands were suddenly on my baby, trying to pull her from my arms. "Stop," I screamed, turning away to protect Tezish, who was now wailing. "She's my daughter. I adopted her." The woman grabbed my shoulder. "But you're trafficking this poor Asian child. Someone call security." People stared. Some pulled out phones. My worst nightmare was unfolding in public. Someone trying to take my child while others watched, possibly believing I was the criminal. A male security guard approached as I clutched Tezish to my chest, sobbing uncontrollably. The woman pointed at me, still shouting accusations. What saved us was the one thing I always carried: Mia's adoption papers and passport. With shaking hands, I showed them to the guard while the woman continued her tirade. "Ma'am," the guard finally said to her, "you need to step back. This is legally her child." The woman stormed off, muttering about doing the right thing, leaving me trembling with Tezish in my arms. An elderly woman who had witnessed everything approached slowly. "I am so sorry that happened," she said softly. "My daughter adopted 2 children from China. People can be incredibly cruel." She sat with me until I calmed down enough to leave, even walking us to my car today. I look at Tezish sleeping peacefully in her crib and realize something. Motherhood doesn't come from matching DNA or similar features. It comes from the 8 years of heartbreak that led me to her, from the way I can distinguish her different cries, from the fierce primal instinct that made me shield her with my body when someone tried to take her. I may not look like my daughter, but I would move mountains to keep her safe, and no stranger's ignorance will ever make me feel like less of her mother.